What we'd like to do is give you an overview of some short little videos you're about to see. Now, as educators, we do not like to teach blow dries. We like to teach technique. Now, as stylists, they can take those individual techniques and enhance their own creativity in their own way. We're going to talk about the airflow and the captive ends. So here's how you can do a quick test. Take the dryer, aim it at the hair on the brush in the section, then take your hand and place it to the side. You'll notice that you will feel no airflow at all on the sides. Everything is directed into the center and wraps. If I put my hand here, now I can feel airflow. Dryer, at this I'm aiming at my finger. If you want to feel the airflow, you can take it, and I am now at almost 180 degrees away from. In this section, we're going to talk about our thermal conductive technology. It's patented, and we like to refer to it as our thermal cooling. So what happens with this coating is it will get to the dryer's top temperature in 18 seconds. Now that is fast at the core of the brush. So when you're applying this, and because we are refracting heat, the heat is also centered as we did with our captive ends. And we're just going to apply some heat here and roll it in. And now we're going to take the heat off. Now, because again we are refracting heat, the brush wants to get rid of the heat as quickly as possible. So when I take this brush, and let's unroll this, and now let's just put this into a shape and look at the lift and the bounce you get. Cooling is what counts, and we're the only ones that are talking about the cooling. It's talk about our Gentle Touch 3D bristle pattern. Now, stylists, we all know there's three things you really need out of a bristle pattern. You need the ability to penetrate the hair. You need the ability to create different tensions within a long shaft of hair, from virgin hair to damaged ends. And of course, we need some shine. So we have our flexible nylon, which is going to give us our penetration, our natural black bore, which is going to give us the ability to adjust the tension through the shaft, and the white bore, because it has a slightly tighter cuticle, we're going to give it the shine. So let's see how this works. First of all, the nylon gives you the ability and penetration to be able to cut a beautiful section on a head of hair, wet or dry, doesn't matter. So you'll notice how easy that brush is when I just tap it in. Now it penetrates through that section. So that's the penetration we get with the flexible nylon. Now the black bore, we talked about adjusting tension. So if I just drop that on there, the black bore is a little stiffer. So if I turn it like this, I can actually, you'll notice, put tremendous tension on that. So I'm smoothing it. Now, the next thing is the white bore, and the white bore is got a slightly tighter cuticle than the black bore. So when we're pulling it through, when I'm doing tensions, all right, I am going to actually polish that hair and bring it down, and then look at how beautiful and shiny, and then feel the gloss. It's amazing. But what's interesting too is, look at the volume that I get back in the hair after using that. Okay, so here we're talking about ergonomics and maneuverability of a hairbrush. So what we want to point out is this. First of all, you'll notice that our handle is elongated. This gives the person using it the ability to shift the hand back and forward, depending on your individual needs. But what's interesting, our captive ends give you the option to actually hold it in a better balanced position. So by holding the brush like this, with your fingers open, the hand is more natural and relaxed, and you can maneuver the brush better. So try it when you get the brush, holding it like this, but also when you're working, try holding it like this. What happens is you get a better center and you get a better balance, better maneuverability, and overall better ergonomics. One other thing about the captive ends is because of the enlarged ends, it controls the section of hair in its width, so therefore the hair never gets into the handles to snag, and if it should cut into here, it won't snag on the ends. So we talk about and look at an overall brush with total ergonomics. So that sort of gives you an indication or a little idea of what we're thinking when it comes to balancing. So another great feature of our Gentle Touch 3D bristle pattern is, and I'm going to wind this in just so I can show you and explain this really well. When you actually apply the hair to the brush, you'll notice that the hair sits on a cushion of natural boar. Therefore, it has absolutely no contact with a hot surface to create any scorching. It's floating, and with this concave barrel with the captive ends, you can see it sits beautifully and it stays there. So now I want to talk a little bit about the row configuration that we've created here. Historically, we've had two types of row configurations. A straight row, which was fine when you were trying to smooth out curly hair, but you had to struggle because the bristles were really kind of flat and you had to put extra effort to get it to grip. Now the second type was when we had a slightly or a very corkscrewed type, and this brush was fine for when you actually had to take a section and wind it down. It created a micro perm which gave really good volume. So each one of them had its little issues. So what we've created is a very soft corkscrewed shape here. So we can smooth beautifully and we can give that pow volume as well. Now, one other little small thing. You'll notice that the tufts are a little further apart. And the idea is so the hair can fall in. If they're too tight, you got to actually push to get the hair to grip. In doing hair, when you get the grip instantly, it's easier to lighten the grip to get more slip than it is to crank it and work it to create the grip. So this configuration is designed to give you that instant grip. So if it sticks, lighten up the hand and it'll slip just through the hair like slick as a whistle. So today everybody talks about light brushes. We have a different approach to this. Let's take an extreme case. If you're working with very thick curly hair, that hair has got energy to pull back and twist. So if you have a very light brush, what ends up happening is you have to work twice as hard to get it smooth. A brush with some weight will actually help. As you're blowing it through and smoothing it, it means less effort for you. So by having a slight bit of weight, it actually is your friend to have a little weight. It ends up helping to pull it down. There's less effort on you, and look at the beautiful smooth finishes you get.